Hey, shalom. Give me a hot minute. I'm checking my Hey, shalom. Checking my stream on my phone. Checking my Hey, shalom. Checking my stream on my phone. Okay, cool. Hey, brother, shalom, man. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Bracket Thumb. Hey, this is just a quick impromptu, man. So give me a minute. I'm sorting everything out here on my screen. Let's see where I could put this. Shalom. Damn, you brothers just be on deck, man. So basically, man, there was a video, right? Let me switch to my screen. Here, hold up. Switch to my computer. There's a video that Apostle Tahar just did. Let me bring it up so y'all can check it out, later. Hold on. Let me bring it up. So, is this, not this one. Right here, this one here. This one he put up about an hour ago. Says he put it up about an hour ago. And so I guess this guy Vocab did a live stream, and in the stream, he's going to his usual BS. But Apostle Tahar mentioned Cornelius, right? So Spirit just got on me to look up in a Greek some of the words in the in Acts the 10th chapter, and basically when you take a deep look in the Greek, it tells you that it's talking about that Cornelius is an Israelite. So I just want to bring that point out. So this might not go through the Spirit, but this is probably not going to be a long stream. But it's a lot easier for me, because I could just stream it, kick it with you brothers real quick, and then it automatically gets uploaded to the thing. So, in case I didn't say this at the beginning, shalom. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and to you brothers out there, shalom. Hope y'all are staying strong, because you got to be strong in these times we in now. Shit is hitting the fan every place, everywhere on the earth. But so I just want to jump into this Acts the 10th chapter. So the Israelite the Gentile issue, man. I mean, really, if the Spirit is working with you, it's not a hard thing to understand. But the Spirit does have to be with you, because this is a mystery. And really, man, if you don't understand the whole Gentile issue, then you don't really understand Yahweh Shai and why he came, right? And that's what fucked up the Jews that were in Israel that didn't accept Yahushai. That's what jacked them up, okay? Because their whole thing is they were about the law, you know. I'm talking about the scribes, the Pharisees, the wicked ones, the Sadducees. Their thing, they had their own thing going. They were about the law, and even them between themselves, they were fighting because some of them believed in reincarnation, some of them didn't. Some of them had traditions of men that they were keeping that weren't in the scriptures. So everything was just all jacked up. But the one thing they couldn't get is that they couldn't grasp that it wasn't about the laws anymore, that it was about Yahushai. And the main thing that they were afraid of is they were afraid of Yahushai because they were kind of seen as the gatekeepers to the kingdom because they were the priests, you know. They were the priests, the Pharisees, they wore the phylacteries and they were in a temple and they stressed going to the temple to worship. You know, that's why Yahushua, when he was at a young age, he was going up in them temples because that's where they were, and he was cutting the hell out of them, right? But their thing was, see, when Yahushua came on the scene, it was no longer about them. Like, their power is basically taken away because Yahushua was preaching. It ain't about the laws. It's about me. It's about having faith in me. So that was taking their power away. You know, that's why they want to kill Yahushua so bad, because they were like, yo, this dude is taking away our place. And so they rejected Yahushua. And so Yahushua went to the Israelite foreigners, you know, the Gentiles. Okay. And they were saved by faith. And it took great faith. It took a lot of faith for them brothers that converted to follow Yahushua, you know, because basically they were rejected by the Jews. So it took a lot of faith. It took a lot of balls, so to speak. So let's jump into Acts, the 10th chapter. Okay. I'm going to check the comment board periodically. So I'm going to go through Acts, the 10th chapter. I'm not going to go through line by line, but I'm going to go through it, you know, to set it up, and then I'm going to jump to the main point. So 10 chapter 1, Acts chapter 10 verse 1, it says, there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. Now, one of the main things about the Roman Empire that made it different is that the Roman Empire, in their army, they included the different nations. So whatever nations they took over, they included people from those nations into their army. So Cornelius happened to fit that case. Now, Caesarea was actually is actually in Israel. So Cornelius was stationed in Israel. So here's Caesarea right here. It's basically a coastal part of Israel, and is known by many names, as you can see up here. But this is where Cornelius was stationed. So it says Herod's harbor. The site was insignificant until Herod the Great began to develop it into a magnificent harbor befitting his kingdom. The harbor was built using materials that would allow the concrete to harden underwater. The 40-acre harbor would accommodate 300 ships, much larger than the modern harbor exists today. Okay, so that's where the man was stationed. Okay. So reading on, it says there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius. Okay. Called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. So Cornelius was from the Italian band. Now we know from the scriptures that there's Israelites that are from Italy. Okay, so there are Israelites from Italy. So let's jump to the scriptures. All right, so let me bring it up. Give me a moment. So let me make sure I got this on the screen. Okay, so Hebrews 13 and 20. Matter of fact, Hebrews 13 and 23. It says, ye know know ye that our brother Timothy is set at liberty, with whom, if he comes shortly, I will see you. Okay. Now Timothy's father was known as he would be known as a Hellenist, Grecian, and he grew up in the heathenistic customs. So his father would be considered a Gentile. Okay, but his mother kept a Hebrew tradition, and this is where he learned it from. But it said he is set at liberty because Timothy knew the truth. It says, with whom, if he comes shortly, I will see you. Verse 24, salute all them that have the rule over you and all the saints. They of Italy salute you. So you had Israelites living in Italy. Okay? And there's other scriptures proving that. Right? Acts 18. It says, and found a certain Jew, right, named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy. So once again, there were Israelites scattered everywhere, including Italy. So it's a great possibility from that point, that Cornelius was an Israelite, okay? A centurion of the band called the Italian band. It says a devout man and one that feared the Most High with all his house. Now, if he feared the Most High with all his house, that means the man had to be an Israelite. To fear the Most High means what? You're following his laws, statutes, and commandments. It says, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always, okay? And the scriptures do tell you that the prayers of the wicked are an abomination to the Most High. Okay, so let me jump down to the vision. Okay, now if you go to verse 11 here, Peter had a vision, right? And this is people in the churches especially like to misconstrue the vision. But let's go through it. It says, and I saw heaven open and a great vessel, and a certain vessel descending upon him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth. Now, that vessel, what is that talking about? That vessel is talking about the nation of Israel, right? Let's prove that. Let's prove it. Okay, maybe spell like this. Okay. Let me find it. Because the scripture says, okay, here we go. 1 Timothy, right? Or Second Timothy, chapter 2, verse 20. It says, but in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and of earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sacrificed and meat for the master's use, and prepared unto every good work. So that's what we strive for, right? We're striving to purge ourselves from this world, from the manners of this world, from the traditions of this world, so that we can become meat for the master's use. Who's the master? The master is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says, and prepared unto every good work. So the good work is what? Doing these lessons, main thing is feeding the flock, going out and speaking, doing what you can to spread this word, right? So the vessel is talking about Israel. So it says, saw heaven open and a certain vessel descending upon him, as it had been a great sheet knit at four corners and let down to the earth. Right, the four corners is because what? Israel was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, so that's what that represents. In verse 12, it says, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And if you brothers know what that's talking about, you could put it in the chat room. All right. If anybody knows what verse 12 is talking about, type it in the chat room. All right? Because what does this represent? Wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. I'm gonna wait a second and see if anybody gets it right. Okay. Kind of talking about it's talking about the lost Gentile Israelites, but why? Because these things, first of all, this represented the state of mind that Israel was in. They were in a state of mind of beasts, right? Because they weren't following the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. They were doing whatever they want. And furthermore, these are all they were eating these things. They were sacrificing and idols that were made after four-footed beasts, wild beasts, creeping things. These are actual idols that they were worshiping. Because if you go to Corinthians, let me bring that up. Exactly. If you go to, what is it, 1 Corinthians? Oops. First Corinthians. Hold on a second, brothers. Let me find what I'm looking for. Boom, boom, boom. Hold up. Maybe 2 Corinthians, what I'm looking for. Give me a moment here. Let me find this. Okay, you know what? It's escaping my mind right now, but it'll come to me, and I'll bring it up when I find it. Okay, but basically, with the scripture, I know it's in Corinthians, but my mind is not working right now. But basically, the Lord gave them over to these unto these filthy the thoughts to where they took beasts, they took animals, and they started making them into idols, and they started worshiping them, right? So this is what Peter was seeing in the vision. He was seeing the state that Israel was in, the messed up state Israel was in. So verse 13, it says, and there came a voice to him, rise, Peter, kill and eat, right? Verse 14, but Peter said, not so, Lord, for I've never eaten anything that is common or unclean. Verse 15, and the voice spake unto him again the second time. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, what the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven, right? So what the Most High was telling Peter, he was telling Peter to go out there and teach the Gentiles, the Israelite foreigners, because kill and eat means to teach, right? Because there's a scripture here. Let me show you a scripture that says hold on. In Revelation, nope, that's not it. Hold on. Find it. There's a scripture that says wisdom killed her beast. Maybe it's possible that it's in the Apocrypha. Okay. Hold on a minute, brothers. Let me go to Apocrypha. Proverbs, is it Proverbs 9? Maybe I was just there. Yeah, Proverbs 9:2. Okay. Here we go. So this is Proverbs, the 9th chapter, Proverbs 9:1. It says, wisdom has builded her house. She has hewn out her 7 pillars. She hath killed her beasts. She hath mingled her wine. She has also furnished his table. So when you gain the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, guess what? You put off, because when we were in the world, we were like beasts. Because a beast doesn't follow any law, statutes, commandment. A beast does whatever the hell fills its lust, whatever the hell it feels like doing. Okay, a beast does. So when you get the wisdom of the Most High, you govern yourself by the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. So you're no longer that in that beastly state of mind that you were once in. Okay. So back to Acts, the 10th chapter. We left off at verse 13, right? Verse 14, it says, but Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. So the churches like to use this vision to try to say that, look, the Most High told Peter that you can eat pork, or that you can eat, you can eat anything that's in a law the Most High said was unclean. You can now eat it, which is bullshit. Okay, when the Most High said kill and eat, he's talking about to go out there and teach. You see. Now, what I want to do here is you brothers can read this whole chapter, but I want to jump straight to the point when he actually got to Cornelius. Okay, because this is the main key, Cornelius, to the unlocking the Gentile mystery. This is the main stumbling block. Okay, because this is like the ace in the hole that the so-called Christians like to use to say that, look, the Gentiles can be saved. What about Cornelius? Well, guess what? Cornelius was an Israelite. How about that? Okay, so let me draw your attention to verse 28. All right. So this is, let me see. Okay, so let's start at 25. So this is when Peter actually met Cornelius. Okay. Verse 25. Let me check the comment board. Hey, that's Ecclesiastes 3:18. That's a beautiful scripture. That's right on the money right there. Right on the money. Hey, GMS Winnipeg, Shalom, brothers. Shalom. Yeah, Babylon must fall. You're right, man. Esau is a beast. Matter of fact, Aleister Crowley, who was indeed an Edomite, his own mother called him the beast of Revelations. And Esau is Captain Caveman, the beast himself. All right. So we're at what verse are we at? We're at verse 24. So check this out. So this is when Peter actually runs into Cornelius. So it says, verse 24. On the morrow, after they entered Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, because the Lord sent a vision to Peter and he sent a vision to Cornelius. He let both of them know that, look, a man is going to approach you, So it says, and Cornelius waited for them. So, Cornelius had to be ancient. Cornelius had to be anxious as hell. The vision came to him and he told him that Peter, a Jew, was going to come speak to him. So he had to be like super anxious, So it says, and Cornelius waited. Cornelius waited for them, and he had called together his kinsmen and near friends. So if he called together his kinsmen, those people were also Israelites that were related to him. Verse 25. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshipped him, right? Because, man, I can only imagine what Cornelius was feeling inside when he saw Peter coming. He probably thought he saw an angel from heaven come, you know, and he fell down to his feet. Verse 26, but Peter took him up, saying, stand up. I myself also am a man. Right? Verse 27, as he talked with him, he went in and found that many were come together. So that was all his friends, Cornelius, his friends and his family members, his kinfolks that he called. There were a bunch of them there. Okay? And all of them believed. They all read the law. They all knew the prophecy of Yahushua coming, and they believed, right? It says, and found many that were come together, because Cornelius was catching hell too, because look, man, then the Israelite foreigner, let me put this on me. The Israelite foreigner issue wasn't no big mystery, wasn't no big secret back then. It's a big secret now, but back then it was well known that there were Israelites that were living in these different nations due to what they call the diaspora. After the split of the kingdom of the 12 tribes, and the 10 tribes were scattered. It was well known that they were living in different parts of the world, different on the outside of Jerusalem and Israel. It was well known. Okay, that's why they made the Jews, they made that statement when Yahushua said, whether I go, you cannot come, which he was talking about the spirit world, but they wasn't on that vibration. They was thinking carnally, so they didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So they said, where is he going to go? To disperse among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles, right? Now, when you look up that word disperse in the Greek, the word there is a diaspora, okay? Which means, actually, you can look it up in the blue letter. Okay, I would go there, but you brothers could do that. It says it says right there that it's talking about the tribes that were scattered. Okay, so back then it was well known that there were Israelites that were scattered. So, like I said earlier, Cornelius was stationed in Israel. So them Jews, they said he had a good report among the Jews. So the Jews, they had to know that he was an Israelite foreigner, okay? But they didn't accept him as an Israelite, okay? But he and his family, they knew the law. They knew the name of the Most High. They prayed to the Most High, okay? I'm sure they were catching hell just like the other Israelites were. I'm sure he was waiting for Yahushua to come back and praying for Yahushua. I mean, why else would Peter go to him? So I'm sure he knew about the prophecy of Yahushua coming back, and he was also praying for Yahushua to come back and restore the kingdom of Israel, And a good question to ask these so-called Christians and these guys that say that the Gentiles could be saved. Well, you can ask them, well, when the disciples asked Yahushua, will you restore unto Israel the kingdom of heaven? What were they talking about? Okay, when you restore something, that means it once existed and you're restoring it back. Now, think about it. When the times that Israel, there were 2 times when Israel you had the closest thing to the kingdom of heaven, which was under the rule of King Solomon, right, and under the rule of I was gonna say Yahushua, which it is Yahushua, under the rule of King David, and under the rule of King Solomon. Right, so those were the times when Israel actually had a kingdom, okay. And the disciples thought when Yahushua came back that he was going to restore that kingdom. Now let me ask you all this, and this is a good question to ask. If they thought Yahushua was coming back to restore the kingdom, well, when we had the kingdom under the rule of King David and under the rule of King Solomon, where were the other nations? Okay. Were the other nations ruling with us? Were they part of that kingdom? They were part of it, but the other nations were under slavery. Okay, under the rule of King David and under the rule of King Solomon, the other nations were in slavery. Okay, and matter of fact, especially the nation of Edom, it tells you that King David in the book of Samuel, it tells you that King David built a garrison to box them in and put them into slavery, them Edomites. Okay? So the kingdom of heaven is going to be just how it was during the time of King David, because then doesn't it not say in Amos the ninth chapter that the Most High is going to set King David back up in his stead? So that means the kingdom of heaven is going to be just like it was during the time of King David, but even greater. It's going to be an everlasting kingdom. So guess what? If the Most High is going to restore that estate back to Israel, the other nations, they're going into slavery. All right? I mean, it's common sense. And then you mean to tell me that during the time of Yahushua came to save the Romans, the Israelites, and the other nations? When at that time, when Yahushua came, Israel was serving hardcore bondage under the Romans. Okay, matter of fact, when during the time of Yahushua, when he was born, it was Herod that was ruling, right? You read Luke, Herod was ruling, and Herod himself was an Edomite from the line of Antiochus. Okay, he was an Edomite. And he gave out a decree to kill all the male children when Yahushua was born. And during that time, right, remember John the Baptist got locked up. You had Israel's under hardcore slavery. You had Israelites that gained Roman citizenship, but then you had other ones that were in hardcore slavery that died in the Colosseums, the gladiator fights. So you mean when Yahushua came on the scene, he came to save the Israelites and the Romans, even though the Romans had Israel in slavery, but he came to save all of them, and they're both going to waltz into the kingdom together. That shit makes no sense. Okay? But I don't want to keep rambling too much. Let me go back into the scriptures. But that's a good point to bring up. So verse 26, it says, "But Peter took him up, saying, 'Stand up, I myself also am a man.' And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together." Okay. Verse 28, "And he said unto them, Ye know how it is, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But the Most High showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean." So they read this and they say, "Oh, well, that's it right there. You're supposed to accept the other nations. You're not supposed to call them unclean or common." All right, so let's go into the Greek. Oops, excuse me. Let's go into the Greek. So let's look up Acts the 10th chapter and let's go into the Greek. So that was verse excuse me. That was verse 28. So this is the main point I wanted to bring out. Verse 28. If you go here, so this is like the bread and butter scripture of these Christians and all these guys that say that the other nations can make it. This is a bread and butter verse right here. Acts chapter 10, verse 28. But if you look here, one of another nation, right? This is a word that's there. Let me play this.
Strong's G 246. Alophilos. Alophilos.
Alophilos, okay? Which Alophilos means foreign, okay? But let's look at the root words. You got to go into the root words. So Alophilos is actually two words from this word, okay? And from this word. So Alophilos is from G 243, which is allos. Okay, let me hit it.
Strong's G 243. Allos. Allos.
Allos, which means other or another. Okay. So the first part of the word means another. So let's go to the second word. Now check this out. The second word is file or fula.
Strong's G 5443. Fule.
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 Fule. What does fule mean? Fule, a tribe. In the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. Boom. I mean, come on now. Let me read it again. in the New Testament, all of the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. So this word here in Acts the 10th chapter, okay, where, whoops, sorry, let me get rid of this. When it says here of another nation, all it means is from one of the tribes of the 12 tribes of Israel, but one of the tribes that became a stranger, right? That's why in the word alophilos, okay, it means foreign, but foreign referring to the one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, so that means one of the 12 tribes of Israel that became a stranger, that became foreign. I mean, boom. That's why the scriptures say in Revelations, blessed is he that readeth. See, these people, they don't do, all you got to do, brothers, is just do some digging, man. You do some digging and the facts are irrefutable. Okay? So right here in Acts 10th chapter, when it says another nation, it literally means from one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? And this links up. So once you understand this, what this links up with is with hold on. Oops. This goes right, and maybe with another video we'll go into this. This goes right into Romans the 11th chapter, right? I say then, has the Most High cast away his people? The Most High forbid, for I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. The Most High hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew, right? Because the wicked Jews, right, they counted the Israelite foreigners like Cornelius as casted away. They can never enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? When you go through this chapter here in Romans 11, it refers to those Israelite foreigners as a wild olive tree. And see, verse 16, first the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches, right? The root going into Judah, Benjamin, Levi, right? And if some of the branches, verse 17, be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and of the fatness of the olive tree, because the Israelite foreigners were the branches that were broken off. And they became what? They became a wild olive tree, right? But through Yahweh Shai, they were grafted back in. Okay, right back into the nation, right back into the nation of Israel. Okay. So, man, like I said, if you don't understand the Gentile issue, you can't understand the New Testament. You don't understand why Yahweh Shai came and what the apostles, what the message was all about. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else I want to go through here, but that was the main point. I mean, this right here is just like, it's a bomb, right? A nuclear bomb. Okay. There's no way getting around this. So let's go back. Let's just go back to this. And he said unto them, you know how it is unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. Okay. An Israelite foreigner. Why? Because they were regarded to as another nation. Okay. Because why? They were in a Gentile state of mind. But the Most High has shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean. Israelite man. Okay. Why? Because they can be cleansed through the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, going into Ephesians, right? I believe it's 5:26. Okay, hold on. Let me get that right quick. I believe it's 5:20. Man, hold up, brothers. Yep, Ephesians 5:26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. Okay, remember we read about purifying yourselves to become a new vessel, But that's what Peter is talking about. Okay. The Most High had showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. Verse 29. Therefore came I unto you without gainsaying, as soon as I was sent for. I asked therefore, what intent ye have sent me. Okay, and I think that's it, brothers. I mean, if you understand that, we don't even need to go through the rest. That unlocks the whole freaking mystery right there. So brothers, with that, man, I think I'm gonna say shalom. Hold on, let me put the camera on me. With that, I'm gonna say shalom, and hope y'all learned something, man. That's what it's all about. Is each one teach one, you know, learn some new information, bring it out and spread it, man. Now y'all knowing that, you could go further and bring something out that, you know, I didn't bring out or none of the other apostles or brothers brought out, you know, like each of us, there's a lot of, man, we're deep. So each of us got to like dig in and bring new stuff out, man. You know, like one brother, one apostle can't do everything, man. So, you know, do videos. There's like 45 brothers watching right now. So, man, all of y'all could put up a video. You know what I'm saying? Going into this Israelite foreigner, going into whatever, man. This ain't a spectator sport, you know. Like you got to get involved. So, hey, brothers. With that, I'm gonna say shalom. Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakathum. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Hey, shalom, brothers. The water for joining me.